Recently, I decided I'm going to be selling off about 200 NES games from my collection. This includes about 100 complete in-box games and about 100 cartridges. Amongst them are definitely a bunch of stinkers where there's like barely any value, to be completely honest. But there's also some absolute gems that are going to sell for a lot. I actually did even make a post to Reddit saying that I was going to be selling off a bunch of my collection, and in that post I said I was probably going to be doing eBay consignment. A lot of responses said I shouldn't go the consignment route because the fees are going to be crazy, I should just sell them to local game store, I should just post them to eBay and sell them myself. All of these are options you can do when you're selling a lot of your collection. And really, there is no one-size-fits-all consideration here. I'm in Canada, which also makes things a little bit different for me, and I'm going to show you guys this in just a second here. So what we're going to do today is break down how I'm going to go about selling 200 games, what I've considered about it, why I chose consignment, and how I view selling overall. Because selling can be kind of fun, and it can also be awful. So say thank you to every single patron who helps support the channel, as well as the YouTube members. I can't do this without you guys. And let's take a look at some of the numbers with selling this collection. So I actually did decide to make a spreadsheet for this video, which should come as a big surprise to all of you. And what this spreadsheet does is looks at the difference in numbers if I were to post these games to eBay myself, or if I were to go ahead and consign them. So the big difference that exists is that I am in Canada, like I said. And if I go to ship something from Canada, no matter what, if it's a boxed item, it's gonna cost me at minimum around $14 US to ship it. And that's not because I want fast shipping or I want insurance or because I want tracking. That is just the minimum amount to ship something inside of a box. If I'm shipping out a cartridge or something that I can put inside of a bubble mailer and literally use no protection at all, I can get away with shipping it for about $3 US, but that has no tracking, no insurance, no nothing. If someone on eBay claims they didn't get the game, I'm screwed. So really, if anything has any kind of value at all, or if it has to go inside of a box, we're looking at 14 US minimum. So because of that high shipping cost, I do try to do a lot of my commerce locally. The big issue with local selling is that my local frickin' sucks. We have barely any collectors these days, people are super cheap, so even if you post stuff below price charting, like you can post 20, 30, 40% below price charting, and you will have your stuff sit and rot. So then it's this tough spot where you have to literally give stuff away locally, or you have to try your absolute best to squeeze out some decent margins by selling online. So when considering eBay fees of 14% plus the Canadian shipping amount here, the amount that I'm going to be looking at, if I sell something for $20 on eBay, I'm walking away with about $3. Well, what about 50 bucks, right? That's not bad. 50 is some value, and you can see that I'm still only walking away with 58% of the actual value of the item. I'm going to walk away with $29. Generally speaking, these days, if I'm going to go and sell something on eBay, I want the minimum price to be $100. At $100, at $200, I at least walk away with a solid amount of the item value. So like I said, I try my best to push stuff local, but there's stuff that simply will not sell no matter what. Unfortunately, it's just a super slow market here. And well, what about a game store? You could trade it into a local game store. My local community actually does not have a dedicated game store anymore. I think the last one we had closed about 2018. All we have now are a bunch of pawn shops that also deal in video games. So the trade amounts are awful and the prices are quite high, but they also have basically a monopoly on the city, so they don't really have to change anything. But after posting my initial video, I was actually able to sell a little bit of stuff locally, and I actually put in the price charting price here just so you guys can see how much lower I am selling it locally for versus price charting. We're talking 50% down, 34%, 17%, 64% down on G.I. Joe The Atlantis Factor. It was an awful condition copy, so you know, I do try to price it down accordingly, but you can see that even with these massive differences on price charting, like Donkey Kong Classics, right? It was a below average box, Canadian variant. Price charting has it at 57. I sold it for $30. But if we go back to the other spreadsheet, if I were to go to eBay and get $50 for it, almost get the price charting price, I'm only getting $29 anyway. When a lot of people sell stuff, they really fixate on the price they get for it, like the sale price on the item, and don't focus enough on the actual net amount that they receive after the sale. When we talk about comps and stuff, we don't talk about the actual price that someone receives, right? We just talk about the price that someone paid, and you have to really consider the gap between those two numbers when you're selling stuff yourself. And just talking about local sales again here, a lot of people love to post stuff locally for exactly on the price charting price, even though there are no eBay fees, even though there is no shipping of the item. A ton of people post stuff exactly at price charting prices and then wonder why no one's interested. If I wanted to pay exactly on price chart, I'd just go to eBay and buy any copy I want. So then in doing the consignment, there's a variable rate depending on how much the item sells for. So if the item sells for under $100, it's 20% rate plus $3. And if it sells for over $100, it's an 18% 15% rate plus $3. And the biggest difference that exists here is that if it's being sold from the States, because this is going to be US consignment, the average price that it takes him to ship a single game is around $4.50. Almost a $10 difference in the shipping cost of a single game. Now, of course, there's going to be combined shipping and some extra variables in there, but we can't account for stuff like that. So just assuming every game is sold as a single game, that's a massive difference in just the shipping price alone. And with that massive difference in shipping price, you can see that I actually do a lot better on $20 items. I mean, I still only walk away with like $6, but I actually get more for selling a $20 item, only very slightly less for selling something worth $50. Only at the 100 level and above does it start becoming a decent consideration, 13% and 16.75% respectively. And giving away this extra 13%, giving away this extra 17%, this was always the hardest thing for me to do when considering selling my own collection. It took me so much time and effort and money to build this collection up initially that the thought of just giving away value on it really hurts. And it took me a long time to get over this, and it's why it took me so long to sell a lot of this stuff as is. Like I said, I've had stuff sitting locally for sale for years because I simply don't want to give away the value. I want that value. It's my collection. But I'm finally at a point where I'm giving away this extra percent to get the stuff listed on eBay, to get the guaranteed sale on the items, to have someone else do all of the work, all of the effort, the photos, the listings, the packaging, all of that stuff. Seems pretty good, honestly. I am gonna have to ship all these games down to consignment, which is probably gonna cost me $100 US, might even cost me more. There's quite a few games that I'm gonna have to ship. But if I was gonna do this all myself, I would have to buy boxes anyway. I don't have boxes available on hand to handle potentially over 100 transactions. So no matter what, there's gonna be an upfront fee. So that is just another consideration right on top of that. There are generally fees associated with trying to sell a large collection yourself. If you don't have bubble wrap, if you don't have packing peanuts, you're also gonna have to get something like that. It's all stuff that adds up if you're gonna do this yourself. And even if I was gonna list these locally, the thought of taking photos for 100 games, pricing them out, doing all of the manual work associated with getting full value out of your collection, like I said, I'm just at a point with my own collecting, a point in my own life where I'm ready to see this stuff be sold. I'm ready to get this stuff out of the house. I'm not concerned with every single dollar. I'm more concerned with it actually getting sold. If you've sold your own collection, I'm very curious to hear your own thoughts or considerations or how you went about it. As this keeps going, I'm going to keep putting the numbers into the spreadsheet here, and we're going to keep seeing how much stuff sold above price charting, below price charting, and the actual amounts that I walked away with. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see the next videos in this series, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.